Christine, did you get the email of the
I
various
did. I
documents that
did.
I
I'm
sent?
looking at it now. Your email.
Okay, perfect. If you want to pull up this making offers in the MLS document, um, that's kind of the step-by-step guide that I'll be using today. And Fernando, I can also get this. I can forward that email with a
Yeah,
few of those documents to
I
you.
I just did. So Fernando, check your email.
Perfect.
Downstairs.
Okay.
So I'm reading it. It's the one that says Introduction Leo Property, right?
No, it's the one that says making offers on the MLS.
Hmm.
Is this Tim? Is it this one that says wholesale class materials?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Download
Opening,
it. Download it. Click into it. And then inside it you see a bunch of files. Is that what you're seeing, Christine?
Okay.
On my screen, yes.
So are you able to find the same file that?
Yeah, making offers on the MLS.
Good. Okay.
It just came up by itself, you guys. I didn't do anything. Thank you for making it easy.
Of course.
Okay. Hey, I already clicked download and it says opening in 2 minutes. So if you want to start, I mean, I could follow along.
Okay. Yeah, great. So I'll
1
just
minute.
start with a quick little introduction of how we use HAR to quickly make offers on the MLS. And of course, the thing to remember about this is it's all about volume. In these initial offers, it's making sure that we are getting at least 20 offers a day out there. So this is just high volume. It's not a whole lot of analysis. So I'm going to quickly kind of give you a quick introduction, and I'll walk you through actually making an offer on the MLS. So we are going to use har.com. This is also available on a mobile as well as a desktop website. The nice thing about MLS and HAR is it's free. You don't need a real estate agent license to access the front side of it and to make offers. So Christine, you'll be able to do this without even logging into the back side of MLS.
Okay.
Some of the criteria that we use is we're looking for single family properties. These are properties that are in the Houston area. You know, we're not looking for Galveston or Corpus Christi or anything like that. These are all driving,
Distance.
driving distance for proximity. For us to be able to go on these appointments whenever that step is necessary. We're looking for active listings, anything that's already under contract or option pending or anything like that. Typically, we can't really do anything with that unless those properties have some type of status change. That we can talk a little bit more about that at a later point in terms of alerts and getting those types of details. But for our purposes today, we're going to be looking at just the active listings. Another bit of criteria is we're looking for 3-bedroom properties, 3-bedroom minimum, 1 bathroom minimum. Reason being is because we just find that in order to do a lot of these deals, sort of the sweet spot and moving those properties it's a lot easier to move 3-bedroom properties than it is to say move a 2-bedroom or a 1-bedroom. So just in terms of volume, that bit of criteria really helps to move those properties. We're also looking at I have here a $0 to $150,000 price range. More a little bit more realistically, we're looking at probably properties that are 35, 40,000 minimum up to 150, 155,000. We can also play with that range a little bit on the upper side, the upper side of the range there. As part of some type of variation search that we might want to do a little bit later on. But anything below 35,000, I found is typically just a lot of lots. So if we start around 35,000, that's when you'll still kind of have some lots in there, but it's not it's not like it's not overly saturated with lots around the 35,000 above range. So just a quick overview. Again, we make an offer anywhere from 60 to 70% of the list price. It's actually listed on the MLS. We'll email the realtor on the HAR website. The goal is to engage with the agent and really determine the seller's motivation. So, if we submit an offer at 70% of the list price and they say, absolutely not, we're not even going to entertain that offer, we know that particular situation doesn't have the motivation that we need to be able to get at a deep enough discount. So we just move on. But if they're willing to play ball with us a little bit and start negotiating, then we at least, know that is a potential deal that we have. We have a little blurb that's in your welcome packet that says, I believe it's realtor contact template or realtor email template. And this is the actual text that I like to copy and paste and use when I'm actually submitting offers right on the HAR website. And just really quickly, it'll have some variation of saying that I'm a local investor. I'd like to make an all cash offer. I can close rather quickly. I'm not working with an agent, so you get both sides of the commission. And then I also go on to list the exact price right there in the comment section of that particular listing. Then from there, I like to go ahead and put the input. I like to input the information from that listing onto a spreadsheet. And you also have a spreadsheet template. Just an idea, you can obviously move things around, put in information that you like to have there. But I found that having some type of digital spreadsheet as I'm going along, especially when numbers, when you have a large amount of numbers in terms of offers out there, once you get to 100 within the first few days, then it's really important to be able to track that all electronically and have that in a succinct place to where when the agent calls you, you can quickly reference that information and see what the pertinent numbers are for that particular offer and know what you actually offered. Another really important step to the process is calling the realtor to follow up. That's probably the most important because you'll find that using the offer, like using that email section on the HAR website, lots of times the agents either don't get it, they get that lead email. Sometimes the system doesn't generate it. Sometimes it's kicked to spam. Sometimes they just don't check it. So it's really important to call and verify that they received the offer and that they were able to, go ahead and submit that offer to their client. We won't really run any.
Can I ask a question here? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, actually, could you let me get through this really quickly, and then I promise that I'll have an opportunity to get that. I want you to just see the full flow of it first, and then we'll kind of break it down into the micro level. We won't really run any numbers like strong analysis of these deals or of these leads until we get a counter offer, because again, the whole name of the game is to get as many offers out there as possible. We're casting a really wide net, high volume. That way, we can get a deal. Typically, what I found is anywhere between 100 to 140 offers will typically yield at least one deal. So if we think about in terms of volume, we can't really afford from an efficiency standpoint to run numbers on every single lead, especially if the lead is not, if they're not going to play ball with us, if it's not a discount type of property, then we don't need to be running numbers and spending time analyzing that until we know that it's a potential deal. So this is an example of the wholesale spreadsheet. Just this one's a little bit more filled out, and I like to fill in different colors and things. The colors, to me, have a particular meaning. Of course, you could have, whatever your system is. I like to put yellow for follow-up and things like that. One of the things that I want to point out is if you look towards the bottom, if you look towards the bottom, you'll see I have the one particular lead. The status of it says needs full asking. So I've put a gray bar to let me know that particular lead is dead, but I don't black it out completely, because sometimes I like to go back and follow up to see if it's still on the market, because sometimes, within a few weeks things can change. I also like to be able to track, which agent posted or, posted a lead or posted a listing rather in a particular area and a particular price point. So I don't like to ever black anything out, just because I think as much information as we can possibly have at some point, regardless of which perspective you look at it, it can yield a lot of really good information for us. So let's talk really quickly. I want to show you, I want to walk through actually making the offer on the MLS. So if you pull up the making offers on the MLS document, this is literally a step-by-step guide in terms of how we do this. Now, in your packet, there's also a file that has screenshots of the MLS, and each of those numbers correlate to the different spots on those screenshots. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about if you are having some issues recalling any of the steps. Fernando, did you have a quick question that I can address before we get into the nuts and bolts of this?
Yeah, on section 2 there. So I would make the call to the agent first to give him the heads up that I'm going to be making an offer, just like the video shows, like the training video.
No, this is a little bit different.
Hold on real quick. Let me reference that. So for
Sure.
example, the training video that you watch is different from this, okay? So you can so when you can kind of put aside that training for now, and then follow along with Kendall,
okay.
And then you and I we'll talk about how you can adapt that training to this strategy.
Okay, got it.
Cool. Okay, excellent question, because I could see how I'm glad we took that then, because I think that that might have been misleading.
Yeah, he's talking about and so Kendall, Fernando had already watched the MLS domination training, and that's what he was.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Excellent. All right. So if you're looking at this document, the making offers on the MLS, I'm going to walk you through really quickly just what it looks like and what I mean by each of these particular steps. So I'm going to try to kind of keep that open at the same time, and we'll flip back and forth. On the main landing page of har.com, you'll see a section that says more filters on the har homepage. So go ahead and select more filters. The second bullet point is in the region. You want to select Houston Gulf Coast. You'll see that there's a whole host of areas in Texas, and we want to focus on Houston Gulf Coast area. For the, let's see, the reset drop-down menu here, You want to make sure that I like to personally do price ascending because I like to see the cheapest properties first. And that's just a personal preference, but for sake of fundamental, we'll just run with that for right now. We're going to make sure that that buy is selected and not rent. The next step is you are going to select either new listings or price reductions. Christine, I think that in our meeting, we decided that we were going to focus on price reductions. For this particular strategy for right now. Also make sure that single family is selected. I'm not sure if that was on. Yeah, I think I skipped a step, but single family there should be selected. We're not really looking at townhouses or country homes or high rises or anything like that. Single family is what typically we found that moves the fastest, and it's the easiest to be able to wholesale at a particular price point. So the next step is we are going to input Houston, Pasadena, Texas City, or Conroe into the cities. You can put multiple cities there. And, that's something that we can chat about in terms of when we start strategizing, which ones Fernando's going to look at, which areas Christine's going to look at. But for right now, I'm going to just go ahead and put in Houston just so we can get an example.
Yeah.
The next thing that we're going to do, again, okay, so step 7 is just make sure that it's selected as single family. Under the criteria heading, this blue criteria heading here, you want to select for sale / for lease. So we look for active. Again, I kind of mentioned this earlier, is that if a property is already under contract or it's pending, then that for all intents and purposes, it means that it's not really available for us to be bidding on and joining the conversation or the negotiation at that particular point. So we have for sale / for lease active. The next thing is the price maximum is going to be 150. And like I mentioned earlier, our price minimum is going to be 35,000. And again, this area, this particular search criteria, as we sort of, again, strategize and come up with various searches, this is one of those areas that we can play with, and this is a flexible area. So, but for our purposes right now, we're going to look at 35,000 to 150,000. The price max could be 200,000. I have here. We also go up to 300,000 sometimes. So, the thing is, when you're doing the upper level, instead of going 35,000 to 300,000, you might want to search like 200,000 price minimum to maximum 300,000, because it's going to bring back so many search results that some of them will get kicked out. Like I think that HAR's website allows like 10 pages of searches to populate, and then after that it kind of cuts off regardless of what the price point is. So you may have to play with your price range a little bit. Our beds minimum is going to be 3 bedrooms. This is what we found has moved the quickest. We won't worry about bed maximum. Our bath minimum is going to be, I'm not going to select a minimum because most properties are going to have at least one bathroom. So I typically don't select a minimum. I mean, if it makes you feel better, you could do the 1 minimum, but usually I found if it has 3 bedrooms, it's going to have at least 1 bathroom. So from this point, that's the only thing that we're going to do in our entire search criteria. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the price per square foot minimum and price per square foot maximum. This is also one of those search criteria that we can play with when we're strategizing, and that's another flexible criteria that we can play with to sort of hone in on a certain price per square foot, and letting that sort of be the driving force for that search. But for our purposes, we're going to stick with what our search criteria guide says. So at this point, that's all we're looking for. We're not worried about amenities or anything like that. You have the option to save this search, and then you can name this search later on if you want to do like generic wholesale search number 1 or something. Sort of, you can. I kind of think of it like as a campaign, if you will. You can name that, and then you just hit search, and it'll bring a whole host of things. So the next thing that now that we've got our search list up, I want to go to the second part of this document that says making offers. The first thing that I do is I look to see if it's a foreclosure. So I just click the very first one on the list. Typically, if it's a foreclosure, it'll say foreclosure right here. Like we discussed in our meeting yesterday, we typically try to steer away our first-time wholesalers from foreclosures, just because they're a little bit more difficult to manage, a little bit difficult to navigate the process, because most banks won't allow for an assignment contract. Most banks won't allow to go below a certain price point. So sometimes we find that we can't really get a deep enough discount to make it a really lucrative wholesale deal. But there are caveats to that. And like Tim was talking about yesterday, if we find something that, the numbers just look really super sweet, there are ways to get around that. We can do a double close, and we could just structure the deal in such a way that we can actually make the foreclosure happen. But for our purposes, let's go ahead and just sort of steer clear away from foreclosures just in the beginning to kind of get our feet wet. The next thing that I'm going to do is I like to look at the photos to check for the condition of the property. So the best way to do that is look at the All Photos gallery. Go ahead and click on it, and this will just bring you through the whole gallery of photos. Obviously, we're kind of looking at a
Kendall, can I offer like this at 30%?
No. Yeah, this is kind of rough, and also we don't know what it looks like inside. It could be, just a big hole in the ground. We don't know. But for our example purposes, now that we've looked at the photos, the next thing to take a look at is to take a look at the list price. So if it's a burn down or if it's very bad shape, then we'll offer 60% of the list price. If it's in good shape with no repairs or updates needed, then we offer 70% of the list price. And if the property is somewhere between the two, then we typically offer 65% of the list price. So in this particular, the way that I like to explain it is, if it's a property that you think, yeah, I could live in that today, I could move into that, that looks like a really nice property, I would offer 70% of whatever the list price is. If it's a property that you say, well, I don't think I'd like to live in that, but I know other people might, it might look like it's a rental. It may not necessarily meet your standards, but if it looks like, it's livable, it might just be ugly, then that's certainly a 65% list price on the spectrum. And then if it looks like this, if it's a burn down, if it looks really shabby, like really, really shabby, lots of work needs to be done, then we're looking at 60% of the list price. That is the extent of the analysis that we're going to do on the property, because again, this initial offer is just to see how close or how how motivated the seller and the agent actually are to be able to sort of play a ball with us from a negotiation standpoint. It's important to know that once we start playing with this, and once we start negotiating, we will always negotiate the price down. Once we analyze the numbers, we analyze the deal, run all of our numbers, check our sold comparables, then we'll be able to have a much closer number. But I know a lot of people, they get really hung up on they're worried about, what if this is the wrong offer? What if I'm offering too much? And the answer to that is you probably are offering too much. But again, it's really important to keep in mind that the whole function, the whole purpose of this step of making offers in large volume to the realtors is just to check and see if this is a potential property that we could work with. Are they motivated enough? Are they open to dealing with investors? Are they open to dealing with our investor terms of option periods and things of that nature? So we're just sort of vetting the properties at this point. So don't get hung up on that first number. Literally, I look at this. As soon as I pulled it up, I took a look at the condition of the property. I said, okay, it's definitely a 60%. I plug in the 60% of 44,000 in my calculator, and then I say, okay, that's the offer number that I'm going to be going after. So actually making the offer. Step 4, copy and paste the realtor contact template text into the comment box and edit the offer amount. That's very important. And I'm a copy and paste guy because, like I said, it's all about efficiency and getting a lot of these out. So I'm going to find that. I'm going to go ahead and find that realtor contact template really quickly, so you can kind of see what that looks like. And it very simply, mine says, hello, I'm interested in purchasing this property and would like to make an all cash offer of $52,000. I can close quickly and will also cover closing costs. I'm not currently working with an agent, so all commissions are yours to keep. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. So, you can play around with the wording a little bit, as long as it has those fundamental sort of principles in there. That way they know that it's a cash offer. We can close quickly. They understand that they are dealing with an investor, and get the offer amount in there. And from there, I just go ahead and copy paste into this particular part of the comment section right there. Just copy and paste it. And again, really important, once you kind of get into a groove, it's, sometimes you forget to edit the price. So we want to make sure that we edit that price. So 60% of 44,000 is 26,400. So I'll go ahead and edit that, and then make sure that you fill in your name. And I found that if it shows up yellow like that, it won't accept it. So if you just do a space. And I also like to select, I would like to have a realtor call me back. Okay, so let me double check. I want to check our document here to see where we are. All right, so just did step 5. Click the request information button. Oh, it didn't take it. So let me just, I'm in Safari right now. Like if you're doing, if you use Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, I found that it'll let you copy and paste all of your contact information. Safari's kind of finicky about that. Okay, so I just unofficially or informally submitted that offer. Really important to know as well that as you kind of go through this process, you're going to find certain realtors that say, well, you didn't submit an offer unless it's on a TREC contract. But I think, I just wanted to clarify that for you. So when we're saying making offers, we're not sending out TREC contracts on every single one of these. These are just super quick, informal offers. So when the agent says, okay, we'll play ball, or, I'll submit it. But lots of times what they'll have you do is either they'll do a couple of things. They'll either submit that offer verbally to their seller, or they'll want it all on a contract. And if they want it all on a contract, then it's really important that we give them those contract terms, which is also another document that you have in your wholesale packet that we can go over. So for that point, we just did click the request information button. At number 7, click to view phone for agent's phone number. Sometimes it won't have this phone number, or this phone number will be the broker's phone number. So I'll click to view phone. Yeah, and that's the same thing. And then I get that information and I input all of that into my wholesale spreadsheet that you also have that template. So I'll put the address, the city, the zip code, the asking price, the initial offer. So I'd have $44,000 as the asking price. My initial offer was $26,400. I like to put the agent name, the agent phone number, and the date that the offer is sent. That way you can kind of know when you were working, and it'll keep you organized in terms of a timeline. And again, you can copy and paste all of this information. Copy 4514 Redbud, just copy that and paste it directly into your wholesale spreadsheet. And literally, that is the extent of making an offer. This one was a little long because I wanted to walk you through the process, but we can go ahead and do another one really quickly. We'll just select this one, 4810 Cress. So the nurse. I'm looking at the
she's on 6th floor, right?
the making offer section.
Okay.
It's not a foreclosure. I've checked to see that. The listing price is $45,000. I look at my photos to see kind of the condition of this property. And it looks like they're all the same photo. It kind of worries me when they don't have interior photos, because we just don't know what it is. So actually, let me see. I'm going to go to a different one because I'd like to see some interior photos. All right.
Hi, Coach.
What we got going on?
Gary's coming.
So then we have, we check to see if it's a foreclosure. This is the list price, $57,000. Let's look at the photo gallery.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Wait, but we can't do
Maybe
it.
some people, different people, that's good.
You just don't know.
I do that every day at the
So
restaurant.
as I'm looking at this, yeah, that's kind of rough. So it's not livable. It's not turnkey. It looks like there's some things that need to be done to it. So I would structurally.
65%?
Yes, 65%. Structurally, the ceiling is not falling down. There are not major holes in the floor. It's not a burn down or a tear down. So I would gear it at 65%. So with that being said, most of our offers will probably fall in that 65% because it's a much wider range on the spectrum. So sort of when in doubt, go for 65%. It's a nice middle of the road number. So I'd say, okay, great, 65%. I would put in my calculation.
29,250.
29,250.
Right. No, wait, sorry. Wrong. Hold on. 37.
3750. Yeah. So 3750. So I go here, I put in my contact information.
Kathy, your baby just called.
I would like to have a realtor call me back. Copy and paste. Oh, where's my template? Copy, paste. Make sure that my offer number is correct. 3750. Request information, and that's it. I'll go ahead and click to view the phone number, get that phone number, and then I'll put that information into my wholesale spreadsheet and move on to the next one. So literally, it can literally take just a minute. You know, we're just this. You know, I mentioned this in our meeting yesterday, but this is essentially just, if this were fishing, we're just casting right now to see who's going to nibble up the bait. So, do you guys have any questions so far?
Yeah, can you go back? Can you go back to the list real quick? To the list of all the properties.
Yes.
Can you page back to the list? Okay.
This one.
You said that for right now. We want to stay away from foreclosures, correct? Where does it, on this page, does it show, can you show me an example of where it says foreclosure at? I don't see it.
Let's see. It's difficult to know without clicking on it. So as you're going
I thought
through
it would say foreclosure somewhere here.
Yeah, you have to click on the actual listing, and if it is a foreclosure, it'll say it in yellow right here. Let's see. So I'm going to select foreclosure just so you can see how that manifests. So actually on the list, it'll show foreclosure like that. Sometimes it may not have that. Do you see this?
A yellow?
Yes.
Yeah, the yellow banner that says foreclosure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Now I see it.
Yeah. And now I will say sometimes I don't know if it's a glitch in HAR, but sometimes it may not say foreclosure on that banner. Like, this is relatively new, like having these yellow banners that say foreclosure. But I've been working on sort of analyzing deals before, and didn't see that yellow banner because it wasn't there. But I've always found that if it's a foreclosure, it will be here underneath the list price.
Okay.
Yeah. Good question. Anything else? Okay. So, Fernando, your particular process is going to be a little bit different because we're going to have you making offers on the backside of the MLS, meaning that you're actually going to sign in to the MLS under where it says login. You'll log in as a realtor, the pro login, and that information looks a little bit different. This looks all the same, but there's a bit more information when you actually click on the listing and you scroll down. You'll have a bit more information than what we're seeing right now. And part of that information is the realtor's the realtor's direct email address. So we're going to have you sending a letter of intent directly to the the agent. So you won't be filling this out. You'll just be getting that. You'll be extracting that email address from the agent, and then you'll edit that VA letter of intent that's also in the wholesale packet, and we'll talk with you a little bit more about that and get that a little bit more specific. But it's the same process in figuring out what you're offering.
When you say extract, does that mean I call the agent and get the email?
No.
Okay.
Like when you click on the like agent profile, when you're logged in,
Right.
you'll be able to see the email address, the direct email address for the agent.
I see that. That's gonna be no one.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Barbara, you gonna join us?
So we won't be submitting an offer here. We're actually sending an email to that agent.
Okay.
So when you look in the wholesale packet, there's this VA letter of intent, and this is what it looks like. And it's a little bit more formal. It'll have the address here of the property. It'll have these are some of the our contract terms. We make sure that we're going to edit this to make sure that it's under the right company that we're using. This is just an example, but we also extract the MLS number. We put the MLS number on there, the property address, the purchase price, and these are a couple of provisions. And then so when we send it directly to the realtor, it has a little bit more. I guess it stands out a little bit more. It feels like a little bit more of a formal offer.
And the reason why we have to do it this way is because by law they have to present this offer to the seller, correct? Because they're licensed. Because they're licensed.
No, they don't. They don't have to submit it.
Really?
Really, yeah. I mean, I've had agents say I'm not even going to bother my seller with that offer.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, if it is a law, then they're breaking it. I don't know that is a law, but yeah, I've had a lot of agents.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got that from the MLS mastery thing video.
I mean, it might be. I don't know what exactly what the law is, but I know a lot of agents that'll flat out say, "Well, I know they're not even going to take that, so I'm not even going to offer it. I'm not even going to say, present it to them." But the purpose of this letter of intent is just to be a little bit more formal and a little bit more official. So that's really just the whole crux of that. So once we make offers, the next step is getting an offer accepted. That's the next little bit that I want to chat with you about. So I'm going to come over to my my presentation here. So we won't run numbers on a property until we get a counter. So let's say, that very first property that we offered, what was it, 24.6 on? So we offered 24.6 and they come back and they say, they won't go that low, but they'll take 30 on it. So that's when we have to start finding out, okay, well, how much can we really get for this thing? How much is it really worth from an after repair value standpoint and that ARV standpoint? So the way that we do that, the way that we run comps is we look at sold comparables. From what I understand, Fernando, you're comfortable and familiar with running comps. So
yes, sir.
Perfect. So I won't go into a whole lot of detail about that. Christine, you and I can chat about that as well.
That is what I was going to ask you. If I have questions, we can just meet up.
Yeah, absolutely. because the best way, I mean, like this particular part of the presentation is really geared towards people that don't have MLS access. So it's kind of like it's a little bit more of an estimate than it is like a really super, super solid comp. I always elect for a comp that you can get from, the backside of the MLS over an estimate. But this is fairly accurate. But the fact that you do have access to the MLS, I'd prefer if we just ran comps that way too. That way we're all running comps the same way. So that's the first component of running the numbers, is figuring out the comps.
30 minutes, Coach.
The next thing is determining repair estimates. And the way that you would go about doing that is you look at, you can look at the photos on HAR. Caveat to that is that sometimes they will have older photos. Sometimes they don't have any photos. Sometimes they only, they'll show completed rooms. And then you go look at the property and realize, oh, you showed me the living room and the hall and that looked great, but you didn't even finish the kitchen or the bathroom or anything like that. So, just kind of take that with a grain of salt, but at least you'll have something to go on. So you look at the photos on HAR. Also ask the real estate agent, what condition is it in? What type of repairs need to be made? When was the last time it was rehabbed or updated, upgraded, that type of thing? The agent will typically tell you and be pretty open about it. So when you're talking to the agent, I like to say, tell me about the property, and then just stop. Just let that awkward silence be there, and they'll just start talking about the property. They may say, tell me what you mean. What do you want to know? Well, tell me what kind of repairs need to be made. What's the condition of, certain things. And I'll go ahead and go into detail about the sort of the main things I like to ask questions about when I'm talking to these agents. I like to use something called the 4M method. 4M method refers to estimating repairs. So if it's a make ready, we're looking at $2 a square foot roughly. So that means that the property is in excellent condition to live in or rent. All you need to really do is change locks, clean carpet, maybe some light landscaping and painting. $2 a square foot is how much it would, a good estimation for how much it would cost to do a fast make ready. If it's got minor repairs, that means it needs painting, new carpet, flooring, kitchen, bathroom, light kitchen and bathroom work, then we're looking at $10 a square foot. If we are, in addition to the cosmetics, and it needs at least one, what I like to call big ticket item, then we'll consider that a moderate repair, and that's going to be around $15 a square foot. And if it's a major repair, it'll be anywhere from $20 to $25 a square foot. That means the property needs a lot of repairs. It's in really bad shape. It needs at least 2 big ticket items repaired, and I'll go ahead and go into what those big ticket repairs are. So I like to ask about foundation, the roof, AC, plumbing, and electrical. Those are sort of the big ticket items that I like to talk about, just to kind of get a feel for the extent of the rehab, and that kind of lets me know where I'm falling in that 4M method on that spectrum. Is it just a really light make ready, or are we looking at some significant major repairs? So that will kind of, once you figure that out, once you have that particular number, you have your comps, you have your ARV of how much the property is worth once it's going to be rehabbed, or once it's updated, how much the property can potentially bring in. That's your ARV. And then you also have how much it's going to cost to get that property to that point from a repair standpoint using that 4M method. So you have those two numbers, and typically the way that you would work it is that you would just go backwards and figuring out exactly what your offer is. So you would take the ARV. You would take 70% of that ARV minus your repairs that you figured out, and then I usually like to subtract a wholesale fee of at least $10,000. That's typically where I start in terms of how much I would like to get for that particular deal. Always try to get around $10,000 for that deal. And so once you do 70% of your ARV minus the repairs minus your wholesale fee of $10,000, that'll typically get you where your offer, where we need to be locking that particular property up under contract. And I'm going to go through that and give you an illustration of that and what the numbers look like. But I do want to talk to you, before I do that, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the follow-up when you're actually talking to the agent. So, you'll figure out what your system is. But what I like to do is I like to just go ahead and make all 20 of my offers, or all 30, all 40 of my offers in one sitting. And then I will go back and start calling the agents myself. Now, I will say that when you do that, you're going to start having agents call you while you're actually still making offers. So, the 5th offer you made may be calling you while you're trying to make your 15th offer. There's lots of different ways to do it. You can handle it right then and there and answer the call right then and there, or you can just let it go to voicemail, finish your offers, because lots of times I found if you're juggling back and forth of trying to make offers and answering the phone, it gets really crazy. So, it's okay. Just let it go to voicemail. And then when it's time to do your phone work, then you sit down and you return calls and you start making contacts with these agents. So when you're calling the agent, a couple of things of what to ask. I like to ask about the repairs, of course. You can use those big ticket items to talk about exactly what the scope of the work is that we're looking at. I like to ask about the motivation. Why are they selling the property? How quickly do they need to sell? How long has the property been on the market? Another thing I like to ask is, has the title been opened? That will typically tell me, if there are any title issues on the property, or at least kind of give you a heads up that there might be a lien or something like that on the property. So I just like to ask if the title's been opened, and if so, where has it been opened? And that also sort of establishes the fact that that what the next step of the process is, and you're trying to get your ducks in a row to make this deal move really quickly. You're not just kicking tires. So this question, this last one that came up on the slideshow, super important. Even if the agent says, no, I will not submit this offer, it's way too low, they're never going to take this, or I know for a fact that they need to that they need more than that, then I'll say, okay, well, this particular property doesn't work. Do you have any other properties, any other listings that you have that may make really good investment properties, or do you have any pocket listings? And I know I've gotten lots of deals doing that. If the numbers don't work for this particular listing, it doesn't mean that another lead might not work. So I always, while I have the agent on the phone, I always like to try to ask that question and establish that working relationship with that realtor. So once you start really getting, starting to negotiate and you're agreeing on a price, and it looks like, we're very close to making this deal happen, that's when I like to walk the property. So it's not until pretty late in the process that I actually go out and look at the property. Otherwise, we'd be just driving all over Houston, wasting a whole lot of time. So when it looks like, this is going to go to contract, we're actually going to lock this up, then we'll start walking through the property. Couple things to think about when you're walking through the property is I always like to take photos, because these are the photos that you'll be able to you'll be able to look at, be able to go back and look at your repairs, but also you'll be able to to use these photos for your marketing whenever we start doing the email blasts to actually sell the photo. I mean, to actually sell the property. Also, make sure that you're taking note of repairs when you're walking through the property. Again, we're going to be using some of these pictures for marketing, either in our email blast or, flyers or whatever way we choose to market the property. Take plenty of notes, also about the neighborhood, and make sure that you just really prepare, that you know your numbers going in, because there's probably going to be some more negotiation once you're actually there. And what I mean by that is, know what your bottom line is. Know that okay, if I want to make $10,000 on this deal with this amount of repairs, I need to get the property at this particular price. So know your bottom line. That way, as you're walking through the property with the agent, you can be pointing out, okay, I wasn't aware that there's a pretty serious foundation issue. I wasn't aware that, there's a leak in the roof. I wasn't aware that this. So you can point those things out, and that'll give you a little bit more leverage in the negotiation process to get that price lower. So once you have a deal, once we finally say, okay, we're agreeing on this number and both parties agree, then it's going to be up to the real estate agent to draw up the contract. So he or she will draw up the contract with your contract terms on a TREC contract. So a couple of the contract terms, I'll just really quickly go over them, but you also have this in your wholesale packet. But you make sure that it has your name, and as well as and/or assigns. And this allows the agent, or this allows you to do a number of things. First, you don't have to have and/or assigns on a TREC contract in order to assign it. But what it does do is it just provides a level of transparency that, hey, I may not be the final buyer on this particular property. Because I've known a lot of wholesalers that get into trouble because they don't necessarily disclose, hey, I'm wholesaling this property until very late in the process. And the agent feels either, duped or, there's just some type of deception there. So I like to just be upfront. I like to put and/or signs on there. It's not absolutely necessary, but it does provide a level of transparency. And, if they ask, what is this about? I thought you were going to be the buyer, the end buyer. I usually say, well, I'm not sure which exit strategy I want to use until I really get into the property and run my numbers and see what my exit strategy is going to be. So I may keep the property. I may wholesale the property. It just depends. I may assign it to a friend of mine that has maybe a higher tolerance for a larger rehab job. It just depends. So that's kind of how I alleviate that situation, and bringing that up with the agent. This also gives you equitable rights to the property, which means it allows you to be able to assign that property. No one can buy it from under you once you have that property locked up under contract, typically. Another part of the terms that you'll have to negotiate with the agent is the earnest money, how much earnest money you'll get, or how much earnest money that you'll need to put down in the deal. Typically, we try to shoot for like $250. This is a negotiable criteria or a negotiable term. I've had agents say, well, if you're serious about it, then you'll put down 1,000, or you'll put down 10% of the asking price, or whatever it is. And the answer to that is, of course, I try to explain that, I have multiple projects going on, so I can't afford to have all of this cash tied up in all of these earnest money, and all of the earnest money on all of these properties. So, I'd like it to be something low and manageable, like 250. But I mean, if the deal is a deal, we certainly don't want to lose it because of something like earnest money. I mean, we'll get that back on the back end anyway. So, that's certainly not a deal killer, but it is something to be aware, because they'll ask you how much earnest money do you want to put down, because they have to actually fill that out on the TREC contract. The other another component to the contract term is the option period, as well as the option money. Usually I tell them I'd like 15 days option period, and I'll pay $100 for option fee. Sometimes they'll say, well, it might be, industry standard to do $10 a day for option fee for during your option period. And that option period is super important in the wholesaling process, because it's during that option period that allows us to get out of that contract or assign that contract without losing our earnest money, or that earnest money going hard on us, meaning that we can't get that back once the option period passes. So during that 15-day option period where we have to do our due diligence, potentially if we were buying the property to rehab it, have contractors go out to do bids. For our purposes, what we would be doing as wholesalers is we would be shopping that property out to an end buyer during that option period. So, the way I look at it is the longer the better. The more time that we have during that option period, the greater chance that we have of really getting that property out to various potential end buyers. And then the other component, contract term, is the title company of your choice. It's really important that we tell them, and we define what title company we want to use, because some title companies are not investor friendly. So we want to make sure that we're using our title company. If the title's already been open somewhere, then because the end buyer, or for all intents and purposes, we are the buyer, because we are paying all of the closing costs, we can say, well, we'd really like for it to be closed at our title company, and the agent shouldn't really have a problem with transferring that title over to that title company. And typically those investor title companies or investor friendly title companies know exactly how to structure assignments of contract and things like that. And that way everything goes super smoothly. And this is just an example of a TREC contract. Little screenshot of it there for you. Fernando, what you'll see is the TREC contracts will typically be signed via DocuSign. So once they draw up the contract, it's really important to look through that contract to see that all of the terms are there that we want before either you sign it or whoever you'll be forwarding that to signs the contract. Okay. And this is sort of the end of it, because now that we have a contract, this is the other part where we start marketing the property. And I won't get into that because I wanted to just discuss making offers, getting the offers accepted, and getting those properties under contract. Do you guys have any questions? I want to show you really quickly the exactly what sort of what the numbers may look like. Actually, it's in a different presentation.
I gotta run out, but I'm gonna let you guys continue the rest of this, and then when you're done on your end there, Kendall, if you can just end the webinar for me, and it should stop the recording on my end when that happens. But yeah, what you done was good. What I would recommend, Fernando, I know Kendall, we talked about having Fernando do it on the back end.
Yes.
But for the purpose of like getting him practice, getting him going. Of Fernando, if you can just do what Kendall talked about today, exactly, from the har.com front end where you don't even have to log in. I would just say practice that first for today, and then tomorrow we look at doing it on the back end, just make 20 offers today, and then go from there. The difference between what you're gonna do versus what Christine's gonna do, in the city search, you're gonna put Houston as your city, and then Christine, you're gonna put the surrounding cities like we talked about, so that way you guys are not making offers on the same property. But we'll start with that for today.
Perfect.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Tim.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
All right, so the last little thing I wanted to show you in terms of figuring out what that correct offer amount is, here's just a little illustration of how we would determine that offer amount. So let's say we run the comps on the property. So we see that properties that are similar to our property, once they're fixed up in a particular area, looks like they're selling for about $100,000. So we're going to take 70% of that $100,000, and we're now at $70,000. The reason it's 70% is because that's typically what the industry standard is for investors, particularly when investors are dealing with, if an investor is using hard money to fund their deal, then the hard money lenders typically they'll only lend up to 70% of the after repair value of the property. So that's why we typically look at 70% as sort of the industry standard. So 70% of the ARV in this particular case is $70,000. Let's say our estimated repairs are $20,000. So we'll subtract that from our 70%. So now we're down to $50,000. Our wholesale fee, we're going to start at $10,000, which means the offer on this particular property, the max offer, if we're going to get wholesale fee of $10,000, is $40K. So that's just a sort of a visualization of the math that I was talking about earlier, in terms of once we get a counter offer, we find out our ARV, we find out what the repairs are typically, just a good little estimation of the repairs as accurately as we can get it without having to, have an inspection or anything like that. And then subtract our wholesale fee, and then there's the offer. So if the list price is, let's say, $50K because it needs some work, and we know that we have to offer $40K to get that $10,000 wholesale fee, it's really important that we know that every dollar that we negotiate down from that $50,000 is our wholesale fee. So that's just a really quick little way to be able to figure out, okay, is this a deal? Is it a really good deal, or is there not enough meat on the bone for this particular deal to be viable? So do you guys have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, great. Christine, are you good? I think we might have lost her, but
hey, as time goes on, as we get closer and closer to this part of it, if I have questions, I could ask you, or
absolutely.
Does Tim know all about this?
Oh yeah, Tim is the man, so he'll certainly be able to guide you. And this is, I just want to reiterate that this particular method, there's 101 methods to doing just about anything, but this method is one that works really well in our market at this particular price point. But every deal is slightly different. So this, I'm painting it with a really large brush stroke, and everything will fall within somewhere within the parameters of what I've shown you. But it may be a little bit of tweak here. It might be a tweak there. And that's where, Tim's expertise is going to be able to come in and say, yeah, well, we just need to do X, Y, Z to make this really work. And of course,
so again, when I send out the 20 offers, then I'm going to go back and call each realtor to confirm that they received the offer.
Yes, and
is that right? Okay.
Correct. And then while you have them on the phone, that's when you want to ask them, about the property in terms of how quickly are the sellers looking to sell? Are they, I can close really quickly. 21 days. Can they move that quickly? Just stressing those points that you are a local investor, or that you're working for a local investor. This will be an all cash offer. And also to get, repairs, any type of information that you can get from that agent about repairs and things like that.
Okay, cool. So then for this initial call, I would need this, for the initial sending out the offer to them, I definitely need this realtor contact template, right? And then,
yes. So like Tim said, you'll copy and paste just like Christina's doing on the front side of the MLS.
Right.
And you just copy and paste that and make sure that you feel free to change the wording up a little bit to make it fit your flow of conversation, how you actually speak, because we want it to feel, very conversational. This is sort of an informal way of presenting an offer. So we want it to feel conversational, and so it should flow, using your own words, basically.
Okay. So yeah. So I'm gonna use this template, and after I get off the phone with the realtor, then I'm gonna email them the formal. What's the name of that form called?
The letter of intent. No. Yeah. So
no.
The letter of intent. That
correct
document that I was showing you. Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, what Tim was saying is, just to start, we're going to have you do the letter of intent a little bit later. So right now, you're just going to make the offers right on the MLS, right on HAR. And then, like what I suggested doing is just, go ahead and make 20 offers. Just knock them out. Boom, boom, boom. And then go back and call each one of those and say, go down your list in your spreadsheet and say, okay, hi, Nancy. This is Fernando. I was just calling to see if you received my offer of $24,600 on Imperial Drive, and see what she says. And like I said, you'll probably find out that she says, actually, no, I didn't get that offer at all. So then you say, well, I'm an all cash investor. I can close really quickly within 21 days. Is there what can you tell me about the property in terms of repairs? And just kind of get them talking, and just listen and see, if they're willing to accept that offer or give you a counter or something like that.
Okay. Yep. So if they accept the offer, I just let you guys know right away. Hey, you said you should be able to get one deal out of like every 140.
Yes.
When you say one deal, is that like a full, like at the full offer price, or is that with some negotiation usually?
Oh, that's typically going to be with negotiation. All of these are going to be with negotiation, because probably what's going to happen is so let's say we submit an offer of 24.6. They may come back and say, yes, we'll take your offer at 24.6. So then they go ahead and draw up the contract. And at that point, that's when we say, I need to walk the property. I need to go look at the property. And because we'll always negotiate that price down. Because remember, we just took that, our first offer is it's basically just that first cast. So it's just to start engaging with the realtor. So even if they do have even if they do have that offer amount that they've accepted 24/6, even though it's on the contract, during our option period, we can still negotiate, and we will negotiate the price down during that option period. So just because they have it under contract at 24/6 doesn't mean that that's what we're going to buy it for. We'll lower it still, even in that option period.
Okay. So right now I'm on the HAR landing page here. So I'm putting in Houston.
Okay.
That's my city, right? And then
Yes.
minimum price is $35K, right? And
Yes.
then maximum is 150, right? And
Yes.
then bedrooms minimum is 3. You said, right?
Correct.
And then I could leave the bath minimum. I don't have to do
No
anything with the
minimum.
bath. So
Yeah.
then I hit search, right? Hit search.
Yeah. Make sure that that the listing status is active for
Low to
sale.
high.
Yeah, you can do low to high, but like I said, make sure that the listing status here is it's the first thing under criteria. Make sure that says for sale / for lease.
Oh shoot! Let me back page that. Hold on. Let me back page that. Yeah. Okay. So it says sale, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Where it says
for
where
sale, where it says for sale / rent, it says sale. Is that what you mean?
No, that's are you looking at the very top? Where are you looking right now?
Okay, I'm on hard.com. I just click hard.com.
Yeah.
The first page that you see with the photo of the house.
Yes.
So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields. So I'm filling in the fields right here.
Yeah. So we don't use that because we have to select. There are a few other filters that we have to select. So when you're on the landing page of HAR, you need to click on more filters.
Okay. And do I leave these things blank, or can I fill these out too?
You can. Yeah, go ahead and leave them blank. Leave them blank, and just click on more filters.
Leave them blank right now. All right.
More filters, and then just top to bottom, you're looking for the Houston Gulf Coast area. You're making sure that buy is selected. You're going to click on single family to the right for your options.
Hold on. So here, buy is selected, single family selected.
Under options.
Okay, hold on. You said on search region, all areas in Texas we want. You said Houston Gulf Coast, right?
Correct.
And then here is single family. Here's buy, right? Got that.
Okay.
And then on options, do I need to click anything here?
Yeah,
price
you're going to click on price reductions.
Okay, good. And then city is Houston, right? We don't want multiple, just Houston, right? And
Correct.
then scroll down here, and then okay.
So for criteria, you're looking at criteria now.
Criteria here. Okay, I gotta scroll down more than I thought. Okay, so then criteria, we're looking at listing status.
Yes.
That's nothing. I don't do nothing with that.
No, you click on for sale / for lease.
Okay, for sale / lease. There it is. So the minimum price net is next, and that's $35K, right?
Yes,
and then
sir.
max is 150. All right, and then beds is 3, and then I don't do nothing for baths, right? Is that it? I don't have to worry about amenities or nothing like that.
Correct.
And then hit search, right? That's it.
Yep.
Should I hit save search? Save the search?
If you want to.
You said I should.
Yeah, if you want to.
It's an easy search. I don't need to save it. Okay, so let's just hit search. Okay, so then price reduced homes for sale in Houston.
So what's the address for the first property that you see?
13002
Rose Landing.
Rose Landing Drive.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, question: in a case like this, where there are no photos, is that automatic 60%? Oh wait, hold it. Should I start it with low to high? Where's the low to high filter at here?
It's if you go up where it says sort by. So when you're looking at the list.
Yeah, sort by. Okay, got it. So let's go from descending, right? Descending, is that right?
Ascending.
Ascending. Right. So then that address is Redbud.
Yeah, that's the one that
That's
I made an offer on.
This is the one.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
so I can skip that one, right? So you already made an offer on that one. Okay.
Correct.
So this one on Crest is the next one. So
right.
on this one, you did make an offer, or you did not?
I did not.
Okay. So on this one, we agreed that it's 65%, right?
Yes.
65% of 45,000, right?
Yes,
I don't see any yellow banner or nothing like that. So then hold on a second here. Just let me walk you through this first one or two here, and then that should be cool. Okay, so then 45,000. And we're saying 45,000 times 0.65. Sorry. All right. So we're saying 29,250 on this one, right? Is the max. So okay. So here on this, I'm gonna put my first name, right, and then my last name. Do I have to put my actual real name on this, or does that matter?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to.
Okay. Cool. So let's just go with Chris. My phone name is Chris, and then Lorenzo, and then my email is chris@dodeals.com. Okay, my phone number is 281-201-4612. Okay. Okay, and then how would you like to be contacted? You said by call, right? Have a realtor call me back, right?
Correct. Yes,
and
sir.
then now I go to the packet, right? And then here's the packet. So I copy all this, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I go back to the MLS thing, right? And then I paste this, but I change the price to 29,250.
Yes, and if you scroll all the way down, like I have my initials there, so you want to make sure that you alter that.
Right, 250. So now I got at 29,250, and now I'm gonna scroll down and alter the initials, right?
Uh-huh.
And then okay, and then that's it, right? Is that it?
Yep, that's it. You click request information.
Quick request. So 1 down, 19 to go.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, so then now I'm done with this one. So then I back page. Do I back page? Yeah, I hit a back page on this one.
Yeah.
What's the next one? So the next one is Clearway, right?
Clearway.
Well, I don't see any. I don't see any yellow banner. So this one's Fair Play, right? So this one says 47,500, right? And then 47,500 times. Hold on, let's look at the pictures, right? We gotta look at the pictures of this one, see what the condition is. Whether it's 60 or 65 or 70. So here's the pictures of. They always put the pictures, the nice pictures that from the outside, but once you go on the inside, the roof's all messed up. The roof's all messed up. The floor's all messed up. The roof in the bedroom's messed up. I'd say this is like a 60%er.
Yeah, this is a 60%, definitely.
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Right.
I would have done that at 40.
The thing is, we want them to talk to us, Christine.
Oh wait, this is a 60%er, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay, 60%. Okay, so I can do 28.5 on this one, right? So let's see if my thing's populated here, auto-populated on HAR here. So go back to HAR. Here it is. Here. So okay, I can get all the pictures here. All right, and then Osan Ronding, right? And then he's the agent. So
Did you put the information from was it Cress? Did you put the information into a spreadsheet?
oh no, I haven't done that yet. So you recommend do it like one by one like that because it's kind of a pain to go back to after. Okay, so.
But I think it's because
right,
Kendall said yesterday that if we don't do that, it won't. Like once you email Fernando, you don't know who, if you emailed them, it doesn't give you like a feedback.
Yeah, it doesn't give you feedback, and it also, you won't remember what you offered. So you'll need to. I like to do it right then and there. So like once
that's the best way to do it. I mean, I already forgot the first one, so
exactly.
Okay. Hold on. Let me just finish the second one, and I'll do that. All right, hold on. All right. Okay, 281 201 46112. Okay. So then let me just double check everything. So I got 28,500 on this one. Okay, so I'm hitting your request. So now those two are done. So let's go back to the hot sheet, right? The spreadsheet, whatever you call it. Is that also in the packet?
Yep, it's the wholesale spreadsheet template.
Okay.
And that's just an Excel document.
Okay. Wholesale spreadsheet template. Here it is. Got it. Okay.
And you just fill in the address, the city, zip code, asking price, and initial offer. I really don't worry about condition unless it's something that I really want to remember, like this was a burn down or it's in perfect condition. Like I put really obvious outliers there. And then I like to put the agent name, of course. Don't worry about seller name. That's for when we're doing off-market deals. But email, phone, and then the date sent. And I also have columns in there for follow-up. This lets me know what I need to do. Like, do I need to call them back? Do I need to send another email? Depending on where you are in talks with the agent. And then the status of it, it could be rejected offer or whatever it is. And then I like to put the counter offer so I know what they countered at. And then, of course, once you get a counter offer, that's when you can put in ARV, you can put in 70% of the ARV. So you kind of have an idea of what all your numbers are just looking at one spreadsheet.
Okay. All right, hold on. Got it. Okay, so that's taken care of there.
And just so you know, the spreadsheet it does get a little cumbersome in the beginning, but once you get comfortable, I mean, it is going to slow you down a little bit, putting in all of that information, but it's going to just pay dividends in the long run. So,
I mean,
we need to be able to track what all of that information is, so we see who made what offers and what the status of all of that is. Because if we don't have the spreadsheet, we won't know.
What about this column for condition?
Yeah, the condition, I only use that for, like I said, if it's a burn down, or if it's, if there's something that's really important about the condition that I need to know, like if it was just remodeled or whatever it is, if it's really, really good or really, really bad, that's what I put in that column.
So right now, I'm just leave it blank for right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really sure. So then the phone number for the agent, where would I find that? Oh, click to view phone. Oh, here it is. Okay, and then let's put that in the thing here. All right. Okay, so as far as the follow-up column, not yet. Leave that blank.
Right. It's not until you talk with that
Status.
agent. Yeah, same thing.
Okay. All right, cool. So that takes care of the second one I just did. So let's go back to the first one so I could have it all nice there. I think I got it handled. Do you have to go?
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're a really quick study. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Christine, do you have any questions? I think we lost her again. But yeah, I think that this is good, Fernando.
All right, sounds good, dude. Thanks
All
a
right,
lot,
well,
man.
thank you. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to rocking and rolling with this.
Me too, sir. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you. Take care.